Hi everyone, I are here. All right, I am bringing a new topic today to the channel and to the podcast. I was supposed to do Saturn in Cancer and what that meant for like movement and eating and all that stuff that I've been doing with all the other signs, and I made it up to Gemini, I think. And I sat down to record that, and fuck if I did not want to do that. It did not feel right. It didn't feel good. I was bored with the whole topic, and I figure if I'm bored with it, y'all are probably fucking bored with it too. So I decided that I'm like, let's do something else. But what else could I do instead? So I got really thinking about what I really want to do and what I really want to like show on this channel. And I know a lot of you know I'm a medical astrologer. This is what I do for a living. I absolutely adore it. I help women specifically, mainly. I do work with men too. It just doesn't happen very frequently. But I work with women mainly to help them rebalance their hormones, bring everything back into alignment, and help heal their bodies, minds, and souls so they can overthrow the patriarchy, right? So this is great. I love it. It works together with my nurse health coaching. I combine it with that and my medical knowledge, my knowledge of science, and then I have my nutrition degree, so with nutrition, and work all together using your chart and what it says about what your body needs the most to work together with you to help you heal it. So it works great. I love my methodology, if that's what you want to call it, the tools that I use. And I love helping people with it. But a lot of people that I talk to and that want to come work with me still don't quite understand like how medical astrology works like in action and like real life, which I get. It's not something that's well known. It's not a super popular branch of astrology anymore like it used to be. And so it's kind of just like the unknown to people, right? So I decided that instead of going with a topic that was boring the hell out of me and potentially you too, because if it's boring me, again, like I said, it's probably boring you, then I decided to kind of do a whole series based on medical astrology in action and using me as the guinea pig. And then eventually this will translate into what I'm doing now into doing it with others as well. So I'm going to be the guinea pig. I usually am for new stuff like this when I want to introduce new stuff to my practice and to my clients. I always guinea pig on myself first. And sometimes if I have like current clients that are up for it, I'll guinea pig with them too. I'm like, hey, do you want to try this? And they're like, sure. So yeah, I do that, but mainly I'm the guinea pig, and if it works for me, then I can apply it for others as well. And because I do everything literally very personalized, everything is based on your specific chart, your specific body, your specific wants, needs, desires, outcomes that you're looking for, goals you want to hit, health problems you want to heal. I don't have like a one size fits all anything in my practice. Everything is very specifically designed for each person individually when we work together. So my methodology is literally doing what works best for you and following those intuitive nudges that come up about this kind of stuff as well. And you can ask any of my one-to-one clients, especially who work with me long term, that it works really, really well because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, right? They're not just being pigeonholed into this should work for you because it worked for Joe Blow down the road, like you do when you see a regular medical practitioner. And we all know that approach doesn't work anyway, because if it worked, so many more of us would actually be healed when we see the doctor instead of getting worse. Or we would be heard and listened to because they would be needing to listen to us because they need to individualize the plan of action, right? The fact that you walk in and if you don't fit in the textbook symptomology that they were taught and you immediately get told, especially as a woman, you need to either lose weight or you just have anxiety, or maybe it's just your uterus that's acting up and being a brat and they just shove pills at you and push you out, then you can see how much that doesn't work. I don't know too many women who have gotten any of that treatment and miraculously come out better for it, right? So I don't do that in my practice. So because of that, I wanted to try something that has kind of come as inspiration from some other people that I watch on YouTube, some other creators, and also from something that I did recently myself. So recently I did a 10-week challenge. It was called the Progress Not Perfection Healthy Habit Challenge. And so it was a challenge to help get you started on some healthy habits that will help heal your body and get you feeling better and, help you lose weight if that's what you were looking for, etc. So I did this and it wasn't a weight loss challenge. Like there was no weighing in every week and comparing your results to anybody else. There was no, like prizes based on that. there was weekly prizes, but they were based on how much you participated in the group and how much you posted on each topic that was like the main topic each week. So like one week the topic was on like protein and how important that is for building muscle and helping your body repair and heal and all of that stuff. And so we were supposed to focus more on getting more protein in our diet, as well as writing something in the group about our protein intake that week. And then one week we had like, healthy fats. Another week it was like on movement. Another one was like scheduling your meal times so that your body knows when food's coming, which makes it, easier to get with those hunger cues, right? And get back onto understanding your body's hunger cues again if you've been missing those for a really long time because you've been in diet culture, which, has you doing all kinds of crazy shit to, release some of that weight that you want to release, right? So it wasn't really truly about losing weight. It was about becoming healthier and changing your mindset around your own body and whether or not you could be truly healthy. And I loved it. But because it's a group program, it was kind of a one-size-fits-all thing. So you did have strength training that she programmed in for you, but it was a one-size-fits-all program where you had 6 different options to choose from and you picked the one that worked best for you. So because it was a work-at-home type program and not a go-to-the-gym type programs, then you picked like you had bands or you had dumbbells, right? And then once you picked one of those, then you picked whether you wanted to do 2 sets or 3 sets during each workout. And so that gave you, a few different options. But then the programming was literally just like a one-size-fits-all programming. It wasn't individualized for you personally, which I get. I've run group programs. It's really hard to individualize things because you have so many people participating. But let's just say this challenge started April 11th. It just ended on Father's Day, which was June 21st. And I fucking rocked it out, right? Like we had tasks each day. She has like an app and then each day you had to check off like the tasks that you had completed and what they were. And so the main tasks were every day were getting your water in and getting your steps in. Whatever step goal you set. It wasn't a one size fits all on that either. So those are the 2 main things. And then each week you had that focus on one of the healthy habits that it would say, hey, did you focus on eating protein this week? Today, did you focus on eating healthy fats today? Did you focus on, your mindset and changing it around this, that kind of stuff, and you would check it off if you did it. And then you had 3 strength training sessions a week and 2 cardio sessions a week and then 2 rest days. And I checked off every single task every single day. I hit my 10,000 step goal that I set for myself every day except for one, because Mother's Day showed up, and for some reason my body decided that Mother's Day was going to make sure that I really was getting rest by making me sick as a dog and unable to barely even stand up. So I spent my entire day in bed for the most part. I did get up a few times to use the bathroom, and I did try going outside to get some sunshine and fresh air. So I had about 900 steps for that whole day. On the bright side, I definitely got my break from the kids that I would, asked for on Mother's Day, from them constantly, needing mom all the time. Because I was down and out, my husband was running interference on all of that. So it was great. But that was the only day that I missed my steps. Other than that, I got them every single day. So I rocked out this challenge. I did all the strength training sessions. I drank all of my water that I had set my goal for. I, definitely improved on so many of these habits and set more consistency in my life, which is really what I was really looking for, was consistency and getting healthier. About 2-3 years ago, well, where are we? No, 4 years ago, I guess, in 2022, we had a really rough year. My husband was in a really bad car accident and he became disabled. It made it really hard for our family because now I was doing everything and he was recovering. And a bunch of other crap happened that year too. The main other one being that our other dog passed away as well. So we had a death to deal with, we had a husband and father that was injured and was recovering, and a mom who was literally running the entire household, doing everything, working, because someone needed to bring in money. And I was stressed to the max. And apparently I was already starting to hit perimenopause, which I didn't really know at the time. I just figured it was stress. And to be fair, a lot of it could have been stress, right? But I thought it was mainly just stress. But I gained a whole bunch of weight. When my body gets stressed out, it reverts back to the peasant days, of where there's feast or famine. And so my body's oh, we must hold on to all this weight just in case we need it because there's a famine coming, right? I very much have those nice English genes in me that just love to revert to, must store and pack on the extra pounds. So when I started gaining weight without trying, I assumed it was because I was stressed out. And to be fair, a lot of it could have been from that. But I think it also happened to coincide with perimenopause starting, and my hormones were going crazy, and then the cortisol levels and adrenaline levels were constantly up here because I was constantly stressed out. And I was still working as a nurse then. And so that was really stressful too, because even though COVID was kind of more officially not quote unquote as bad as it had been, and we didn't have the high numbers in the hospital that we did, it was still really stressful because what happened was a lot of nurses quit. A lot of nurses died, unfortunately, from the pandemic. And a lot of other ancillary staff, the same things had gone on. So we were down to like bare bones nurses, CNAs, doctors, respiratory therapists, lab techs, all that. So the crew you normally worked with was a lot smaller. And because of that, you had a lot more patients as the nurse. You had a lot more patients, a ton more patients as the CNA, because you were splitting the floor sometimes with like one other CNA if you were lucky. If you weren't lucky, you had you, and that was the only CNA. So we would be down to, instead of having, we were supposed to have, I think, 6 nurses on our floor. We were down to 4 to 5 nurses. So we were having about 5 to 6 patients each in a step-down unit, an ICU step-down unit. So these patients are still very sick. They're just not ICU level sick anymore. But so you're not supposed to have that many. Our max ratio prior to this had been 4. We were at 5 to 6. And then we only had like maybe 1 CNA. If we were lucky, we had 2. So you had no backup for anything. So you were literally running everything. Our phlebotomists and lab techs were running on empty. I remember one day we had 1 phlebotomist for the entire hospital, and they were doing outpatient lab draws and inpatient lab draws. So if they couldn't get to your patient, which was highly likely, I was drawing my own labs. So I was putting in all my own IVs because the IV team was down to a skeleton crew also. I was drawing all my own labs because we didn't have a phlebotomist. I was doing all the CNA work plus all of the nursing work. And we only had a handful of doctors, so if you needed to get a hold of a doctor for anything, you were literally like calling and waiting because there was a line, a queue. You weren't the first one to get a hold of this guy or girl and need help, right? You were not the first one to need this doctor. And so I just assumed it was that combined with all the crap at home. But apparently it wasn't just that. And I was so stressed out that at the end of the year, November of 2022, on Thanksgiving Day, because I was working at the hospital on Thanksgiving Day, and all of a sudden I went to go use my work phone to scan some meds and pass them out to this patient, and I could only see the right half of the screen. The left half of the screen was gone, and I thought there was something wrong with my phone. So I was like banging on the phone, and I'm like trying to figure out like why half my screen is just suddenly blank. When somebody said something, and I went like this with the phone to look, and I realized that on the right side of my body, I could see the whole screen just fine. But when I moved it to the left side of my body, I couldn't see the screen at all. It disappeared. So this is how I figured out that I was missing vision in my left eye, and it was gone. And talk about being freaked out, because as a nurse, you know what this could possibly mean. So you're even more freaked out than maybe a normal person would be. And my first thought was, I'm having a fucking stroke at work. Now, I wasn't a level 1 trauma center. So, I mean, I was in the right place if I was going to have a stroke in the middle of the day. So I called over one of my coworkers and I was like, so don't tell anybody, but I can't see out of my left eye. And she's like, you what? Of course, because she's screaming, everybody turns to look, so now they're all coming over to figure out what's wrong with me. And I tell them, I'm like, look, I can't see out of my left eye all of a sudden. So they start doing an assessment, and they're like, well, your left pupil is a little sluggish. That could be a stroke. They drag me into a room, and they take my vitals. And, of course, now like my blood pressure's through the roof, which probably was from stress, not necessarily from that. And then I, was like, okay, so now I'm really freaking out. So they take me down to the ER, and they hand me off to the ER. And they're like, you have got to fix our nurse. She's missing her vision. So after hours and hours and hours and hours in the ER and lots of testing and a weird ultrasound on my eye, I've never had an ultrasound on my eye before, but let me tell you, it does not feel good. I don't recommend getting it unless it's absolutely necessary. They diagnosed me with what they call ocular migraines, which despite the name is not actually a migraine. It's actually a constriction that happens in the blood vessels in the back of the eye. And so when it constricts, it cuts off the vision because it pinches off the nerve and everything. So you have no vision. And so I said to them, I said, okay, well, what's the cause of this? Like, what causes these? Because I, have never dealt with this before. And I'm like, please tell me what causes this. And they're like, stress, dehydration were the main 2. And I was like, oh. So I'm super stressed out as a nurse all the time because I have very sick patients. It just is what it is. I'm stressed out for my actual entire fucking life right now. And I can't remember the last time I drank anything today, much less any other day when I'm working, because y'all don't let us carry water with us. And when I do drink, it was mainly like an energy drink because I hadn't eaten and I hadn't drank anything and I was lagging, so I needed energy, so I would be drinking. I was drinking probably somewhere between 2 to 5 Monsters a day. I do not recommend that. Please don't take that as like advice that you need to go do. No one should be drinking that many Monsters, but I will tell you I wasn't the only nurse doing it. I never have been, and I probably never will be. How they treat us in the hospitals, especially, is we're expendable crewmen. And unfortunately, we get run ragged. And like I said, if somebody is out or off or we don't have the staff, everything falls back on us to do everything. So like I said, I was even doing my own respiratory therapy treatments, which I know how to do because I've worked at hospitals that didn't have RT on staff, so I had to do it. But when you're in a critical unit like that where the patients are very, very sick, having to do your own treatments, having to get your own lab draws, having to get it, and you're not in ICU nurse where you only have 1 to 2 patients, and you have 6 of these that need all of that, it's very stressful because you're running around and you're doing like 3, 4, or 5 jobs plus nursing, right? It's a lot. So I was like, okay. So I took that as a sign that my body was telling me that I needed to quit. I'd been feeling that way for a long time, and then the pandemic hit, and I kind of got stuck in a way because I couldn't in good conscience like just leave in the middle of like all this craziness happening and people really desperately needing help and my coworkers being completely, out on their own without having extra staff. So I was like, okay. So I stayed. And now in 2022, my body was like, you can't stay anymore because we're going to fucking quit. You're quitting because if you don't, I'm going to quit. My body was like, I'm going to quit. And then you're going to be SOL because you won't have a job or anything else because, you're only have half your vision. So I took that seriously and I left that job. I got one more nursing contract as a travel nurse and we went to Tennessee and I did a contract there and I finished it. I added like a few weeks on so that I think ended up being like, instead of the normal 13 weeks, I think I did like 22 or 25 weeks, saved up all that money, walked out and on my last day and never went back to any nursing. I was like, I'm done. I need to be done. And I went all in on my business. And so from 2023 on, I was working on, getting healthier. And then 2025 happened and my sister-in-law was really sick and needed assistance. So we went to them and I was helping with her. So I was doing nursing again, but not in that way, just with family members and helping out. And so I started noticing my body getting really stressed again. And I was like, ooh, this is not good. So we finished that up. We got her back on her feet. She's doing well now. Got her through, the crisis. And I said to my husband, I said, okay, I have got to focus on me now because like my health is still not good. I'm having all these symptoms of like perimenopause. I'm starting to get the hot flashes, the night sweats, the lack of sleep. I was super irritable all the time. I was, like I said, just packing on the pounds for no reason. I didn't change my eating. And I just looked at him and I said, I've got to focus on me. I'm sorry, I love you guys, but like it's time for mom and wife to come first, right? I have put myself to the side multiple years in a row now to get my husband through recovery, get my feet under us and savings built up so that I could quit nursing, to, helping family. I was just everybody but me was coming first. So 2026 has been the year of Ire getting healthy and getting rid of things. And honestly, it's menopause that has really pushed me to do that. Because perimenopause, especially, is like an awakening where you come back to yourself. And during this time, it literally is forcing you to put yourself first. Like you're coming back to be the person that were supposed to be all your life, but maybe have been conditioned not to be anymore due to family influences, childhood trauma, society, life in general. And it's really bringing you back to who you are at your core. It's kind of almost like a spiritual awakening in a way at the same time. And it really forces you to finally put you first. And I told my husband, I said, there's no way any of these symptoms are going to quit if I don't put myself first. The more I stop putting myself first and put others ahead of me, I don't take care of myself, the more these are going to hit me, the harder it's going to get, the worse it's going to become. And I know this, because it's what I teach all of my clients. It's what I talk to them about all the time, is that you have to be selfish sometimes, right? In societal terms, you have to be selfish. You have to put you first. You can't give from an empty cup. And I was literally giving from a bone dry cup. Like my cup hadn't been filled in years. So this year has been the year of putting me first. And it's going great, obviously. But I did this challenge as I started focusing in like December 2025 into January of 2026 on really like making some consistent habits. So I really focused on making sure I was getting all my water. That was one of my big things because I had not been drinking water, and cutting monsters out of my life. So, because I was like, I don't need any more caffeine. This is not helping my hormones. This is keeping my cortisol levels high. It's mimicking cortisol. So my body is definitely staying up here with that instead of, way down here. That's not helping my sleep any. I need to get rid of that. So I've really put my focus on those two things at first. And then I slowly added in walking more every day and getting my steps. And then I added in eating better. And I'm like, okay, we're cutting out the junk. I'm cutting this out. I'm cutting that out. And then I kind of realized that if I cut too many things out, it's just going to be another like fad diet all over again that doesn't work. So I was like, okay, got to be a little more sensible with this. We're not cutting things out. We are reducing things that I know are bothering my body. So I started really paying attention to which foods I ate and which foods were really like bothering me. And by that, I mean like really dysregulating my emotions, dysregulating my hormones, dysregulating my blood sugar, or just making me feel like absolute shit when I ate them. And so if any foods that I ate one of those things happened, off it went. So I was like, nope, we're either cutting it out or we're reducing it to a minimal intake. So I did that. So I was already kind of on the way. Then I started adding in getting up in morning walks and getting some like exercise in the morning and journaling and giving stuff to get like my spiritual side taken care of, doing more of my practice with my deities and doing all of this stuff and combining it all together. So when this challenge came up and it was about building healthy habits, I was like, oh, good. Some outside influence to kind of help me get some consistency. So I did the challenge. I rocked it out, like I said. By the end of the challenge, I was down 22 pounds. I lost 19 and a half, 20 inches, somewhere in there total off of my body. I lost 5.5 inches in my waist, which is fucking amazing because like nothing was fitting and making me feel like awful. I literally looked like I was probably 6 to 9 months pregnant all the time. And I'm not, like, at all. But that's what it was looking like. So that's coming off. So the weight is moving. I am releasing that weight. And I'm not talking that I'm losing. I have not lost the weight. If you lose the weight, you might be kind of looking to find it again, right? I don't want to find it again. I want it to go the fuck away and never come back. So I have released 22 pounds and almost 20 inches off my body. So, and I completely kicked the monster habit. I was having, like I said, 2 to 5 daily for a while. Then I got it down to 2 to 3. Then I was down to just 2. And then I got down to 1. And now I'm down to 0. It took a while because let me tell you, my body was habituated to caffeine and maybe addicted even. And as I cut those down, the headaches, oh my God, let me tell you, I have never experienced headaches that bad in my life for literally what feels like not a very good reason. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is awful. So that is done. And I am so glad. But that's why it took me so long. I had to really, because like, then I went down to 1 a day. Then I was like 1 every other day. Then it was 1 like every second day. Like I literally, when I tell you I had to like taper myself off of this like it was a fucking medication, it was awful. So just stay away from caffeine. It's just literally like a legalized drug in a way. And my body was really, really liking that legalized drug. So I was like, okay. So I got rid of that. And I am doing so much better. Well, that challenge ended, like I said, on June 21st. And she starts another round of it in September. So there's 12 weeks-ish between the 2 rounds. So I was like, okay, I got to find something to do in this in-between time. And I had picked out a program that I'd actually have had for years and actually done the gym version, but not the home version. Because we're currently 2 hours from the closest gym that I have a membership to. I'm not driving 2 hours to go work out every day. That would be 4 hours round trip. No fucking thank you. So I was going to do this home workout. As a gift to myself, after completing the challenge and rocking it out, I bought adjustable dumbbells. So prior to this, I did that whole challenge, all the strength workouts, with 3 kettlebells. A 10-pound, a 15-pound, and a 20-pound. That was it. Don't ask me how. It was rough. So as a present to myself for completing it and fucking rocking it out, I bought some adjustable dumbbells that go from 7 pounds to 70 pounds. So I will be good for a good long while with those. So I got those. So I was going to use those. Well, I get a notification on June 24th. I get an email from the coach that ran the program. And she's like, hey, I just wanted to congratulate you. I picked a grand prize winner for the whole challenge and you won it. And I was like, okay, was not expecting that. It's all random. Like she just puts it as a random number generator. So yeah, so it came out, I won. And with that, the prize was 2 free months of one-to-one strength training and nutritional coaching with her. So I ditched the program I was going to do and am going with this personalized program that she is making for me. So I said, okay, what else do I want to do? I want to challenge myself to keep up with these healthy habits and to add on some ones that I've been slacking in. I've been slacking on my journaling. I was journaling every night, and lately, probably the last like 4 or 5 weeks, it's just plummeted and I've not done it. So I wanted to get back to journaling because that really helps me. It helps with my thought process. It helps with my racing brain that likes to keep me up all night. It helps with my spiritual practice. It helps connect me to my guides and my deities because I get a lot of information from them and like back and forth discourse with them through like automatic writing. So the journaling works really well for me, and I have not really been doing it. So I wanted to get back into that. And I wanted to continue some other things. So I decided, based on the spirit of some of these creators I've been watching on YouTube and wanting to show you medical astrology in action, instead of doing like the 75 hard challenge or the 75 soft challenge or some variation thereof that people do, and I actually follow several creators that have done the 75 hard challenge several times, and that's all cool and all, but I am not about to do any of that. I'm just not. I sat down and thought about it for a really long time and listened to what my body really wanted. And every time I was like, okay, so I got to do this. My body was like, hell to the no, are we doing that? I don't want to do 2 45-minute workouts a day because someone else told me to. I have a problem with being told what to do already as it is, but that's beside the point. It doesn't feel good in my body to be forced to do 2 45-minute workouts twice a day for 75 days. Like, that is literally how I'm going to wind up being stressed again, gain some weight, and stress myself out. No, thank you. You also need to drink a gallon of water with that, which I have no problem with. I drink a fuck ton of water now, which is fine. But then they say you can't drink electrolytes with it. Excuse me? If I'm going to be drinking a gallon of water a day, I'm going to need some fucking electrolytes or I'm just going to be peeing all day. Like, I need some salt so my body hangs on to some of that water. And I'm like, and plus it's like hot, it's summer. One of those workouts has to be outdoors. And I have 5 planets in Scorpio, and a Scorpio moon is one of those. And Scorpio moons sweat like you have never seen. Like, they don't stop. Most Scorpio placements do, but Scorpio moon is especially bad. So I don't need any help losing electrolytes and then not replenishing them. No, thank you. So I'm outside working out at least once a day for 45 minutes. I'm going to need some electrolytes. So that doesn't appeal to me. You have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. Again, I don't like being told what to do. So if I want to read, I just want to read what I want to read. I don't want to be forced to read a certain type of book. Like, I love nonfiction books. I just finished one 2 days ago. So like, I have no problem with that. I just don't want to be forced to read a nonfiction book every day for 75 days. My reading list currently of like what I'm currently reading is probably about 4 or 5 books that I am currently in somewhere in the book, like reading them. Because unless I'm really enthralled in it, I can't just sit and read one book straight through a lot of times lately. I don't know, since I got late 30s, early 40s, my body is like, oh, I don't really want to read just one book. So I have like 3 to 5 in progress at once. I wouldn't be able to jump back and forth. And so I just probably would not actually do it. And then you can't drink alcohol, which is fine. I don't drink anyway. So that one was easy. You got to follow a diet of some kind, which I just want to eat what I want to eat. And I don't want to be forced to, again, follow a diet. And I know they don't mean diet in like a fad diet way, but I want to do it because I want to, and again, not because someone's telling me. And during the challenge that I just finished, we didn't actually follow a diet. It was just eating nutrient-dense whole foods. And if you were trying to get rid of some weight and release it, then you would eat to 80% full. And all I did to track my food this whole time was I just took pictures and sent it in the app to the coach so she could look things over. But we didn't actually like track things. I didn't weigh anything, nothing. And I lost 22 pounds. So you don't need to be tracking things. I hate tracking. I've done it before. I did it for 5 fucking years. 5 years of straight tracking everything that went in my mouth. And it made me obsess around food. Like, literally my entire life was run by food. I don't want to be there again. I'm too old for that shit. So I'm not doing that. So I was like, okay. And then there was like another task too that I forget what it was. But anyways, they've been doing this. I've been watching it. Super inspiring watching these other people do it for sure. And it's definitely helped me stay consistent throughout my own, health journey that I'm on right now of getting back to where I would like to be in my body and happy and healthy. My goal, honestly, is happy and healthy. Where my weight falls in that is doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what that number is. If I'm feeling good in my body, my clothes are fitting in a way that makes me feel good, and I'm not feeling like I'm a squeezed jelly roll. And if I am happy with that weight, with the way my body looks and feels, that I'm good. Like I want to be happy and healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, physically healthy, etc. So that's my only goal in this whole thing is just to be happy and healthy. So I took pieces of that 75 hard challenge, and then I took pieces of like, let's personalize it from a medical astrology standpoint. And I opened my chart and I came up with my tasks that I'm going to do for this challenge. I'm going to make it a 75-day challenge just because it's about 11 weeks, which literally gets me right up into that next one. So that's the only reason I'm doing 75 days, not for any other one. But my tasks that I want to do daily focus on, and by want to do, I am not going to be a perfectionist on this. It is not an absolute requirement. And if I don't do one a day, I have to start back at the beginning, which is another 75 hard thing. If you miss one task a day at all, one task, that's it, back to the beginning to go. No, thank you. I am not here to do any of that. So my tasks are the tasks that I think I can easily hit without overwhelming myself, overstressing myself, creating more cortisol issues, or wreaking havoc on my hormones again. So I came up with 7 things based on my chart. So task number 1 is eat a whole foods, nutrient-dense diet and shoot for approximately 100 grams of protein a day, because when you're in menopause, perimenopause, protein and fiber are super important, as well as drinking plenty of water. So I want to focus on that. Because of my Venus and Virgo, I need to focus on regulating my blood sugar a lot, because that one can get dysregulated. It tends toward more hypoglycemia, which I have struggled with my whole life, which is literally just like the opposite of diabetes. Instead of dealing with high blood sugar all the time, it's like low blood sugar. It's still the same pathway that's dysregulated. It's just dysregulated in the opposite direction of diabetes. So I want to work on that because my blood sugar has been an issue for a while, and I think that a lot of the reason that some of this happened was that the stress has made me insulin resistance. Perimenopause and now into menopause also increases the insulin resistance, and it has definitely wreaked havoc on my body and is storing anything that I take in as fat instead of using it because my body can't use insulin appropriately. So that was part of my focus during the last challenge as well. And obviously I dialed something in just right because 22 pounds has disappeared from my body, so I will take it. But I want to do that. I'm focusing on a mix of warm foods and liquids for the most part. I don't do well with cold foods. I have a rising in Leo, and Leo needs a lot of warm foods. It doesn't do well with a lot of cold foods. And it's summer, so I do need some cold foods because my body with that Leo rising and all of my Scorpio placements does tend to get a little dehydrated. So I do need some cold foods like lettuces and, like salad type stuff, because that gives me extra water and it gives me fiber, which my body needs a lot of. So I do want to focus on some of that, but I want to, make it a mix of warm foods and cold foods, but focus more on the warm foods. And I do need plenty of protein because I have my Mars in Virgo as well, and that one struggles with protein assimilation sometimes, that placement. So I would like to definitely, like I said, keep my protein around 100 grams a day. Again, I am not weighing anything or measuring anything. So this is all just, I am going to guesstimate, 100 grams of protein, because I weighed and measured my food for so long. I can literally eyeball my portions still to this day and come out, pretty much bang on. So I'm just going to do that. I've been doing it for the last 10 weeks, 11 weeks now, and it's been working fine. So we're going to continue in that path. I'm going to do daily journaling, at least 1 page. I'm going to write at least 1 page a day. This is because of my Mercury in Scorpio. It really needs a lot of communication and deep communication, and it really likes to work things out. And instead of it running around in my head, I'm going to have it run around on some paper because that works a lot better and helps me sleep better. Work out by strength training 3 times a week. With my Leo rising, I need a lot of working on my back and a lot of cardio to help with my heart, because Leo rules the heart, and Leos tend toward heart problems, and I would like to avoid heart problems. So I'm going to do that. I have 5 planets in Scorpio, as I mentioned, and Scorpio placements, depending on where they are specifically in your chart, really need to focus on strength training as well as a little bit of HIIT in a way. You need a little bit of things where you do quick burst of something and then you rest and then do another quick burst, to the point where you get to kind of like when you're lifting weights and you get to that, rep where you can maybe do a half of one because you've reached failure basically. You kind of got to do that, but you got to get right before failure, with this kind of exercises, or else you like literally will burn yourself out. And I'm not trying to burn myself out, like I mentioned. So I'm going to do some kind of stuff like that. The foundations of Scorpio strength training and conditioning are peak performance and power. So this is why I was really good as a power lifter, because I needed that. And so doing some quick movements of like heavy weights and then backing back off again will be part of that. And then so that'll be 3 days of that. So then I'll do 2 days of cardio stuff as well, again, to strengthen that heart and that Leo issues, keep those at bay. So one day will be probably like some low intensity type stuff. So like yoga or maybe like a hike. We're in the middle of a beautiful part of the country, so I might as well enjoy nature while we're here. So I'll probably go for some hikes. We just got kayaks. Yay. So kayaking will be a huge part of that. We are literally living on a lake for the summer, so it's like a hop, skip, and a jump to get to the lake. So might as well enjoy some of that. So go kayaking a lot. And then one of the other days, the other day of cardio will be something closer to HIIT, maybe like some sprints with intermittent, like you do like a sprint and then you do a walk and you do a sprint and then you do a walk, kind of something like that, or just a run in general. I actually really like running. I was a weird power lifter. I actually liked cardio and liked running, which is probably why my performance was so much better than some of my colleagues, because I did cardio and it conditioned my body in a completely different way than just lifting, but it was good. And also strength training is absolutely necessary for mental health, as Saturn in Scorpio. When your Saturn is in Scorpio, you need some kind of movement daily for your mental health. In my case, I love strength training, so that's what it is. Strength training is actually the number one way when you have Saturn in Scorpio. So I'm going to do that. So that's my thing. I'm going to drink 96 ounces of water a day. That is 3 of my water bottles, 3 of these. So I can do 3 of those a day. This is actually number 2 for today. I got 1 more to go. So I'm going to do that because of my 5 planets in Scorpio. Despite being a water sign, Scorpio is actually the most dehydrated water sign because it's a leaky water sign and it just constantly leaks things, like my sweating constantly, peeing a lot, and having sometimes very loose stools that are almost liquid. So that's, again, lots of liquid going out of the body. So I need lots of liquid. I'm also going to throw some electrolytes in there. At least a few times a week. I don't know if I'll do daily, but at least a few times a week, just to ensure that I'm actually holding on to a lot of this water that I'm drinking. I want to read daily for at least 30 minutes. And this could be any book. Like, again, I told you I bounce around. I like to bounce around. And that's for my stellium and Sagittarius. I like lots of learning, lots of new information. So I do intersperse my fiction with nonfiction. And most of my nonfiction stuff is actually things that pertain to helping my clients. I just like learning about all kinds of medical stuff and then being able to apply that. And then this is a task that's weekly instead of daily, but weekly weigh-ins and measurements just for my own sake. I don't know if I'll even share this in these upcoming videos that I'll be posting, but that's for me just to keep me accountable to, stick to these other things, because then I can actually see them working, and it also gives me a boost of like, hey, let's keep going. That actually does nothing to do with my chart. That's just a me thing. And then I'll take progress pics at the beginning, the middle, and the end to see how things are going. Oh, that's the thing. 75 Hardy, I do a daily progress pic. No, thank you. And then my last actual daily task will be 10K steps a day. So 10,000 steps a day. At least I want these outdoors, mainly because 1, we live in our bus, so I don't have a place indoors that I can walk. And 2, it's just nice to get outside in the sun. And that's because of my Leo rising. I am a full sun plant, y'all, and I need the sun. And if I don't get enough sun, I get very depressed very quickly. Like, ask my husband. He will tell you we spent a winter on the East Coast recently, and oh my fucking God, sad hit me so bad. I was miserable. That's part of the other reason why I gained some weight over the last couple of years, was because we were there to buy the bus and get it fixed up so we could leave. And just in those few weeks, I was literally like a miserable, depressed, horribly upset all the time, couldn't handle it human being. So we have come back out west where we get sun most of the time, and I can enjoy that. So we spend winters out here now and summers where I get lots and lots of sun. So those are all my tasks that I want to focus on. And I made this very personalized to me. And my goal is I'm going to go this whole 75 days, do this whole thing, see how it really works, following your actual chart and adding tasks that, are actually personalized more to you and not just random tasks that someone says to do. And then eventually put that into like a group kind of thing that I can do with other people who can come and join me along the way, who will also get a personalized thing as well, personalized tasks that they want to do, also based on like the things that they want to achieve during the challenge as well. So, make it very personalized. So that's the thing I'm going to be focusing on. Be coming out with a video, a podcast a week on all of this. Hopefully that's the goal, where it will just detail the week of what I have done and how I'm meeting these goals and what I am doing, and kind of bring you along for the ride. And I'm super excited. I'm calling it the Cosmically Aligned Challenge because we are doing it in alignment with our cosmic blueprint. So I hope you come and join me. I would love for you to kind of come along for the ride and eventually join me down the road. But this is what I'm going to be doing. I will be doing that personalized program for the first 8 weeks because I have the 8-week thing. And then from there, we'll decide what I'm doing for strength training after that. I may start that other program that I had talked about at the beginning that I ditched because of this winning the grand prize in the challenge. So I'm going with that one, but it's only for 8 weeks. So that'll leave me about three and a half, somewhere in there, where I won't have an actual like pre-made program from someone else. So I'll have to come up with my own stuff. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, that is everything we're going to be doing. If you are interested in saying, hey, this sounds cool, great, whatever, like and subscribe. If you are on YouTube, and follow me. And if you're on the podcast, follow me on whatever platform you listen to that on, and keep up with what's going on. And I will see you at the end of this challenge. Love and light.